We've come across some absolutely iconic and insanely awesome character introductions across our many years of watching anime. Today, we've collected the greatest and most legendary character introductions we've ever come across. Great to see you here once more at Animeology. We've got some brilliant introductions on this list, from the strange to the unexpected to the absolute fan favourite. Even though these introductions are definitely epic, we do recommend checking out these animes as well. Number 10. Lu Lang, Sword of the Stranger. The character introduction of Lu Lang plays straight out of a classic martial arts film. With heavy rain beating down, we see a convoy of bandits halted and forced to take shelter in a small barn. With their defenses lowered, drinking and relaxing, the door bursts open and one of the convoy stumbles in, shouting about a soul warrior out in the rainy forest. Little do they realise just how insanely powerful Lu Lang, our hero, really is. Things are quiet, with nothing but the sound of rain beating down on the mountainside, when all of a sudden there is a storm of arrows that come raining down. A single lone figure with a long-drawn, wide-brimmed hat twirling around with nothing but his single steel blade and a deep crimson cape to assist him. Left and right, flipping and jumping from enemy to enemy, it's only a matter of time before the bandits lie dead. Number 9. Gojo, Jujutsu Kaisen. One of the newest animes out there, Jujutsu Kaisen does have a lot of awesome things going for it as an anime series. But hands down, the Gojo character introduction is one of the most legendary that we've come across in a while. Although the series itself has a pretty strong sense of dramatic action and fight scenes, Gojo Satoru is this series' comedic relief. Always quick with a joke and to make light of an otherwise serious situation, fans immediately fell in love with this character. A sorcerer that works as a teacher at the Jujutsu High School, he claims that he is actually the strongest, although no one actually ever challenges him. Widely respected and well known, definitely check out Jujutsu Kaisen because you do not want to miss out on what happens to this epic character. With his iconic band covering both his eyes and charming face, do not be fooled. Gojo is a deadly and highly skilled fighter that brings one of the key elements that has helped make Jujutsu Kaisen easily one of the best newest anime series out there right now. Number 8. Shimazu Toyokesa, Drifters. An absolute classic anime series that blends dark fantasy with a fun historical touch. Drifters is one of the most stylish action animes that we've ever come across. With a number of brilliant characters, none gets you more pumped than the absolute legendary introduction of our MC, Shimazu Toyokesa. With a blade that slices through the air like butter, we see enemies just exploding in a flurry of steel. Sometimes even the camera can't keep up with how fast Shimazu's moves actually are. Drifters kicks off with Shimazu's fighting against all odds and defeating a lot of enemies on a hunt for a high-ranking army officer. He is first seen at the epic and historically significant battle at Sekigahara, when his uncle ordered their forces to retreat, but Toyokesa refuses and sacrifices himself in order to help more people escape. Shimazu has no fear and goes on the offensive, killing as many people as possible. But it is far too much for him as he gets stabbed multiple times by spears. Held up in the air with like 20 spears in him, he pulls out a gun and kills the enemy official. Crucially wounded, our hero starts stumbling back through the battlefield, and that's when the core plot of Drifters really kicks in. With a character introduction as legendary and epic as this, you know Drifters is going to be one hell of a watch. Number 7. Escanor, The Seven Deadly Sins. The Seven Deadly Sins is considered an absolute classic anime series, bringing together some of the most brilliant characters together for an epic adventure. The sheer level of OP and power in this series are insane, but the character introduction of Escanor is on a whole new level. We meet Escanor in his epic fight against Galland. On the search for our heroes, Galland stumbles into a random tavern in the middle of nowhere. Galland offers Escanor the chance to save his own life by ratting out the people he is hiding in the back of the bar. But the quiet and nerdy Escanor certainly seems pretty unassuming. Thin and frail with glasses, stammering, unsure of himself, it's clear to see that Galland is enjoying himself by bullying the poor Escanor. What happens next truly is the most epic character introduction we've ever seen in an anime series. Picking up an epic and powerful battle axe, the quiet and unassuming Escanor starts to shift in the epic and unstoppable beast we all know and love. His muscles start to grow and his shirt literally starts to rip off his own body, revealing to Galland that he, Escanor, is the sin of pride. With huge bulging muscles and a giant axe across his shoulder to back up that claim. Watching the 7 Deadly Sins for Escanor alone is definitely worth it. Number 6. Levi, Attack on Titan. Titans are huge and unbelievably powerful, larger than buildings. But even they experience fear when they think of the insane Captain Levi and the threat he possesses. Honestly, all of Levi's scenes are on a whole new level of awesome, but the first time we're introduced to this character really is something else. Eren is in trouble. 2 huge titans are lumbering overhead. The air is filled with smoke and dirt. Things are definitely looking bad. The next thing you know, the music kicks in as this tiny figure falls from the sky, dropping down and slicing at the outstretched arms of a titan. Bouncing off the walls and spinning through the air, everything is dim and dark except for the sharp shine of Captain Levi's blade as it slices through the titans. In a few swift cuts, one of these huge beasts falls to the ground. The single, lone figure stands upon the defeated titan, his cape gently flapping in the wind, the logo on his back, the wings of liberty. Levi Ackerman has arrived, one of humanity's strongest soldiers. Attack on Titan is a brilliant series all round, and is widely considered a modern classic, with some absolutely brilliant battles and fight scenes, a story that isn't afraid to kill off major characters and rock the boat. Tune in for the legendary character introduction of Captain Levi Ackerman. You will not regret it. Number 5. Pillar Men, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Many of you tuning into this episode probably expected this on here. This is easily one of the most iconic and well-known legendary character introductions of all time. Most people haven't even checked out JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and have no idea who the Pillar Men truly are. But this legendary character introduction has actually become a widespread meme around the whole world. The introduction starts off with a group of soldiers raiding a dungeon and coming across a stone statue of 3 incredibly ripped and muscular men, the Pillar Men. Afraid of just looking at them, the soldiers try to keep calm. The Pillar Men seem stuck and cannot move. Slowly trying to extract these insanely powerful beings is definitely the wrong move, and the single Pillar Man makes little work of the dungeon raiders. Having slept for 2 millennia and finally awoken with some of the most iconic music ringing out. A strong Arabic tinge considering the Egyptian styling of the Pillar Men, a lone Pillar Man returns to the frozen bodies of his 2 masters and awakens them, kicking off the most iconic JoJo's arc that have ever been released. Number 4. Uchina Mandra, Naruto Shippuden. Just mentioning the name Uchina Mandra gets me unbelievably excited. Out in an open desert-like setting, in a final plea for help, his hands on the ground and summoning the jutsu. This huge concrete structure rises out, kicking sand all around. The music turns to low, rumbling chanting as the structure cracks and explodes open in a great deal of force. Dirt and sand everywhere. We can barely see what's going on. As the smoke clears and slowly starts to settle, we see a single figure emerging from within. We never get to fully see Uchina for a good 2 minutes, just a distorted figure, his hands, and then everyone around him revealing the fact that they cannot believe that Uchina Mandra is back. Reanimated, Mandra slowly steps forward towards the edge of the cliff, and we see instant fear in the attackers and onlookers. Uchina Mandra is back, standing still against the wind as his long weave of hair slowly sways in the breeze. We see a single red cursed eye. He pulls out his blade and kicks off one of the most legendary character introductions you will ever see. Number 3. L. Death Note.
Not to tell anyone about this, I have important information concerning the Kira investigation that I'd like to share with you.
Where's this coming from? And who is he?
One of the most famous animes around, and for good reason. Death Note is often cited as one of the earliest examples of a thinking man's anime. Following the bad guy instead of the good guy, not heavy on action but definitely bringing us a lot of twists and turns. What really sets Death Note apart from the rest is the epic cat and mouse game between the two lead characters. The twisted light Yagami and the world's greatest detective, L, the character introduction of L is nothing short of impressive. Death Note is about a magical Shigami, or God of Death book, that gets discovered by one of the brightest students in Japan. Turns out that this student is absolutely twisted and starts murdering people left, right and centre. All Light Yagami needs to murder someone with the Death Note is the name and a face. Writing it down in the Book of Death, the person will die immediately of a heart attack. L goes against the usual strategy and reveals himself on TV. On a full-blown police conference with his name and face shown to the public, he lets the world know that he is on the hunt for this deadly new killer. Light Yagami laughs to himself as L is nowhere near as great as he thinks he is. Revealing his name and face, Light immediately writes the name down in the Death Note, and the L on the TV clutches his chest and falls down dead. But wait, that isn't actually L. The murder of the decoy has helped the real L narrow down the search zone and the hunt for Light Yagami and the Death Note, and so begins one of the most epic anime rivalries through one of the most legendary character introductions. Number 2. Kaido, One Piece. One Piece is one of the longest-running animes and manga franchises out there. The epic quest of Luffy on his journey to become the Pirate King has amazed and impressed many generations of anime fans across the world. The greatest strength of the series are easily the battles and action scenes, bringing forward some of the most epic story arcs in the anime history. One of the most epic animes with the most legendary character introductions is easily Yonko Kaido. Starting off high up in the clouds, we see this horned figure with a huge cape looking down. We learn of Kaido's life as a pirate and criminal, captured and tortured repeatedly. He falls from the clouds down to the battlefield in an effort to kill himself. He fails. We learn that he was sentenced to death 40 times. Each time has failed. When he was hung, the chains broke. When he was sent to the guillotine, the blade shattered. When they tried to impale him on a spear, the spear crumbled. Nothing can kill him, not even himself. And number 1, Miriam, Hunter x Hunter. Most fans would agree that the Chimera Ant arc is one of the best Hunter x Hunter storylines, with the main antagonist being the Chimera Ant King, Miriam. One of the most powerful offspring, insanely muscular, and toned and covered with powerful and resistant armor. A cruel and violent leader that considers himself far superior leaders that consider all other forms of life lesser than himself. His character introduction is on a completely different level of epic and one that you absolutely need to check out. The time has finally come as we see the Ant Queen writhing about in pain, screaming and shouting, giving birth to her offspring. Everyone looks around. They all know a king is about to be born. The Ant Queen screams and screams. She looks down at her belly and begs to the unborn baby it's far too early to give birth. "Quiet!" shouts out the voice from inside her womb. A hand rips out from the Ant Queen's belly. Miriam, the Chimera Ant King, is born. His mother instantly dies during childbirth. He rips himself out of her belly, surrounded by a strange purple glow. You don't get a character introduction much more legendary than that.